New Orleans Saints quarterback Derek Carr on offensive struggles against the Philadelphia Eagles, ladies and gentlemen. Derek, you have some explaining to do, my man. These statues outside the Superdome of Derek Carr and Clint Kubiak are put on hold until the foreseeable future. Let's hear from Saints franchise quarterback Derek Carr on what exactly happened and what was the cause for the vomit-inducing performance that we saw against the Eagles on Sunday. Backdrop is New Orleans Football providing the video. Their audio is crisp. The New Orleans Saints actual YouTube video of this interview is garbage.
Start off, are you okay? You look like you got a little bit of a shot at everything.
Yeah, I just got wind knocked at me. I was fine. Yeah, I just need a minute, but I'm good.
Hey, Dave, why was the offense? Why were they struggling today?
I think they did a good job mixing up their fronts. They had a lot of dudes on line scrimmage. Really sold out to try and stop the run, and they did a good job.
Saints. Vic Fangio had the Saints in hell. Vic Fangio had 5-6 people on the line, whether it was because of McCoy's injury or Hill's absence or whatever. But Clint Kubiak was not able to counterpunch. He was not able to adjust. He was not able to do much anything. He was dealing with a playbook of seemingly about 10 plays, and 8 of those plays was running Kamara directly into the line of scrimmage. So we will find out more this week of what the culprit was, whether it was because of the playbook getting shortened and shrunk because of that lack of McCoy and that lack of Hill. Maybe that was the case. I don't know. Time will tell. But, Vic Fangio, the master, schooled the pupil, or however you want to phrase it. Fangio, he gave the NFL blueprint, man. I'll tell you that. He gave the NFL the blueprint. Jay-Z would be proud. He gave the NFL the blueprint on how to defend. Not just the Saints, but this kind of a system and this kind of a scheme. So now we get to see how good Kubiak is. They better be in the lab. I mean, it's up to, because I guarantee you this, the Atlanta Falcons are watching this game right now. The Atlanta Falcons are watching how the Eagles did this, and they're going to try and do it. So Kubiak has 5 days to figure out what the counter to this counter is.
You have to give credit to them. They made more plays than we did. We as an offense, I start with myself. I wasn't perfect.
No, certainly we're not.
All of my stuff, and you go back, you got to correct it. But you knew adversity would happen at some point. It's not going to be that easy all the time. And so, for us, it's a great opportunity. You get hit in the mouth. And with that said, I thought we responded. To a tough, gritty game. It was.
I agree with that. Okay. I can agree with what he just said. Point 1, take the result out. You do have to feel good about the fact that the Saints can win, can play in, can lead, can whatever, scratch and claw in a game like this. They don't have to be winning 40-3, right? Like, this was a disgusting game. Saints threw their D game. They threw one of the worst performances they can against a really, really good team, and they were still in it. They should have won it, okay? So on that end, yeah, okay. If the Saints would have won this, like while I'm watching the game, I was thinking, if the Saints win this game, I'm going to be more bullish on the Saints than I ever have been, because they showed us they can win in 2 very different styles against good teams. Like Dallas and Philly are good teams. So if you can win with your A game and your D game, that is huge for a team that's seemingly a contender. Now, that result didn't happen, but it still rings true that there are some positives to take from just being in this game being competitive, because if you look at the box score, Philly should have won this game by 2-3 touchdowns. Okay, so, and Derek is also correct. Like, okay, we knew we weren't going to go 17-0, no doubt. Now it's time to see how they respond. If they go to Atlanta and beat Atlanta, then who cares about this game? I mean, honestly, like, if we're 3-1 after Atlanta, I could care less about this Philly game. If we are 2-2 and we look the same that we did against Philly, it's panic time, because now we're showing that maybe we can't respond. Maybe we can't counter the counter. So all eyes are on Atlanta. But yeah, I mean, it is now time, put up or shut up time. Adversity is here knocking on your front door. How are you going to answer?
It wasn't all just bombs and this kind of stuff. We had to grind it out a little bit and still make plays at the end. And all that kind of stuff. And then at the very end, they made one more play than we did. And, that's how this game goes sometimes. But,
True.
There's no discouragement or anything like that. You're pissed because you lost. You're mad at that. You want to win all these games. But end of the day, we played a really good football team, and we knew what type of team they were. You turn the film on, everyone talks about whatever. That didn't even matter. You turn the film on, and we knew what we were going to get ourselves into. And so it was a grind, but they made more plays than we did.
It's tough when you lose an offensive lineman, but how tough is it when you lose a center?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's hard, especially for communication and things like that. But I thought Lucas did a fantastic job. He's a veteran, super smart. He's been in the system, in different varieties. And so I thought he did a great job. But, I always say anytime you lose anybody, on a football team, you never can just replace them. They bring a certain role and they bring a certain, piece of the puzzle. But it's always next man up, and I thought those guys battled. I thought they did a great job of battling against one of the better fronts in our league.
I think the main thing with McCoy going out was the communication and just kind of telling the other offensive linemen what to do, where to be. This looked very similar to last season. I mean, this looked very similar to a confused front. It looked very similar to lack of communication and people going unblocked, stunts confusing people, a lot of pressure. I mean, Carr was getting destroyed. Jalen Carter was wreaking havoc. That's where I think this game was lost. I mean, I think this game was lost with Eric McCoy not being there to tell the other linemen what to do and where to be. And, it is one of those things where should the entire offense hinge on Eric McCoy? Should the entire offense hinge on Taysom Hill's capability? Probably not, but right now it does. Like right now, from where we're sitting, you can absolutely say that Taysom Hill not being there and Eric McCoy not being there is about as big of a deal to this offense as possible. 100%. And that should not be the case, but it is the case.
Derek, was there any component of this that they had 2 games of your offense on tape, but they had more to study and were maybe a little bit more ready for you guys than in the first 2 weeks?
It could be, yeah. I mean, anytime that's throughout the season, and there's different, ebbs and flows of that, coaches switching things and changing things and all of that. But, I thought, again, you got to give credit, to their players and to their coaches. They beat us today. And, as players and coaches, we take that personal, but we still believe, we know we're a good football team. And, the belief is, so strong in that room. Disappointed because we want it real bad, and, we really believed that, we were going to pull that one out, but we didn't. And so for us, it's about staying positive, but making the corrections that we have to make and, working on it during this week.
I think the Saints are still a good football team. I will say that. Like, I think they are still a good football team. They're not undefeated. They're not a 40-point-a-game team. But I think they are still a good football team. I think they are still a contender for the NFC, certainly the NFC South.
How close was that one to Shaheed, did you feel like, in the front of the end zone?
Early, like
the Darius Slay one when Shaheed came back for the ball. Yeah, I thought she was gonna come down with it because Slay was kind of out of the play and Shaheed just had to come back.
First half,
yeah,
I thought it was close, but he's made so many of those plays for me, and I'm going to keep throwing them, whenever he gets an opportunity. I trust my receiver so much. And so, it was close, but that's football sometimes.
Derek, what happened on the interception?
At the very end, someone just came free, and in that situation, a sack is terrible, and I was trying to just make a tight throw, hopefully that he would look,
Yeah, a little miscommunication on that last play. Carr was under pressure. Shaheed, I don't think, held the ball at the right time. It wasn't one of those, like, he threw it right to the defender, but,
for me, as I was getting hit. And so, again, I wish I just, tried to skip it or whatever, get to the next play. But in that situation with the clock and how many yards, we needed to get, I tried to make that play for our team, and I didn't. And, I tried to stand in there and make a throw, and they ended up making the play.
First several weeks of the season is a lot of feeling out. You guys are still getting used to a new system. What do you think you guys can learn about yourselves from this performance?
Oh, man, this is a great opportunity for us to come in tomorrow and see if we bring that same energy that we've been.
It is a good opportunity, too, just schematically for Kubiak to say, like, okay, I now know what beats me. It's one thing to just do the same thing over and over again and know it works, but whenever someone challenges you and says, okay, I have found the answer. I know what can stop this. Like, this is a great opportunity now for Kubiak to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to deal with this. And you would much rather want this to happen now than in the first week of the playoffs, or you know, he now has all season, or certainly at least this week, to sit down and take a look at his kryptonite and figure out how to beat it. So, I mean, we're really working to find a positive here, but it is a positive that is on the table. Like, the Saints now know what is the worst possible situation for us, and they can tinker and they can have a game plan ready and they can have a remedy ready to try and beat that when it does show itself, because it will show itself now quite a bit.
Been bringing and but bring it to some more corrections, right? You know, bring it into some things that, you know, everyone's gonna look at this tape and it's gonna hurt, man. You know, because you're gonna see things, man. What the heck did I do there? You know, why did I do that? You know, and again, I say it, but that's football. And
when you think about evolutionary biology, going down a rabbit hole here, buckle your seatbelts. What makes evolutionary biology strong, or what makes someone strong or something strong, is whenever they are faced with that time of evolution where they're faced with, okay, here is the problem. We have to evolve to fix the problem, like giraffes had to evolve to have that long neck, you know. Certain animals evolve and get a shell. Certain animals evolve and get poison. Certain animals evolve and get, you know, really strong eyesight or sound or hearing or whatever. Or they evolve to where they can eat a certain type of berry that was previously they couldn't eat. You know, they whatever. And those evolutionary moments makes them stronger in the long run. And this is one of those evolutionary moments where Kubiak's offense is now seeing a defense that is it is that pain point. So how will they evolve now to beat that? How can Kubiak get this offense the long neck it deserves?
And, you know, the teams that continue over this long race continue to improve. It's a race to see who can improve the most towards the end. And
that's what I was just saying.
It's a great opportunity for us to look at some different fronts that we hadn't seen this year.
Yes.
And, to see some different kind of, you know,
Time
games
and
different kind of routes, different kind of throws for me, coverage, all that. And for me to be better, you know, than I was the last time. And so, you know, my commitment to my team and to this organization is to, you know, be hard on myself and, you know, push our guys in the same way. You know, that we look at it, you know, just like we looked at it after a win. You know, you're hard on each other. Got to be hard on each other, especially after this loss, so we can be better.
How much did not having the run game be as successful as it was kind of play a factor in this one?
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job, you know, and we had, you know, some good runs, and we still were able to, you know, make some adjustments and have some really good runs. And I thought in the pass game too, you know, there were some play actions and stuff that, you know, were good, and you know, I don't want to over, you know, do it. You know, I thought we, you know, Coach Gruden always told me we didn't lose, we just ran out of time. But, you know, they beat us today, and you know, we ran out of time on that one. So I thought we were making good adjustments. I thought we started moving the ball well. So my confidence is high in all that. So anytime you don't, you know, start off hot, it's always a grind a little bit. But I thought we handled it well.
It was certainly a grind.
And then what did you see to Olave just to go ahead?
Touchdown, cover zero. You know,
Man, that was sweet. Olave made. I mean, that was I thought Carr overthrew him. I thought he sailed it. And Olave made a very difficult catch look very easy. But yeah, that was nice.
They had the safety matched up on Chris, and you know, for us that's a great matchup. And just throwing it, you know, to my spot, and he ran it down like he always does and made that play.
Derek, what did you think of the crowd? It was pretty loud.
It was electric. That was a playoff atmosphere.
Oh, I was just about to say that. 100%. The crowd was insane. It was actually kind of hard to breathe. If you're ever in a stadium or a dome like that and it's rocking at that point or at that level, I guess the vibrations or something kind of start hitting you, and it is kind of difficult to breathe. You feel weird, like you it's a weird feeling in the arena. And it was a playoff atmosphere. And I'll tell you this, these two teams do not like each other, especially after this game, especially like after the whole Devontae Smith thing and after the Jalen Carter getting into it with fans and C.J. Gardner-Johnson popping off in the locker room. Like, these teams, if these two teams play in the playoffs, this is going to be a raucous environment. The Philly faithful showed up. The fans were big time in the Superdome. They were obnoxious as hell. One of the worst fan bases I've been around. I've been around a lot of them. I've been going to those games. I've been going to every home game for well over a decade now, and some fan bases are worse than others. Philly was way up there as one of the worst. Philly might be the worst. I mean, they were. That was tough. I would not. I remember leaving the game thinking like, man, I'm taking Philadelphia off of my vacation travel spots because I do not want to be around these kind of these kind of hombres. But yeah, I mean the dome was packed. Dome field advantage. It's crazy because you always hear about dome field advantage. You hear about the Superdome. You hear about all of that, and a 3rd and 16 with it rocking like that, like it's so backbreaking for those moments to go against you because you're thinking like, how can this happen here? Like, how can in a situation like that where 3rd and 16 game on the line, how can you blow it, in the dome with the fans rocking like that? But yeah, definitely a playoff atmosphere.
I've only got to play in one of those, but it felt like that, and so that was amazing. We need them all year, because that's such an advantage for us, and so. The fans were fantastic. That was awesome, and hopefully make these corrections, give them some more stuff to cheer about.
And Derek, what is just the emotional swing like of you go ahead like that, and then a minute later you're down and you have to go back out on the field? Can you kind of take me through that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's easy to do this, but in this game, most of these games, mostly every time, it comes down to one possession, and you score and there's time on the clock, the other team always has a chance. And so, for me, I've tried my best to, just try and stay even keel. Obviously, you're excited, and when they score, it's like you guys stay still ready to go. Make your next read and make the next throw. And so, it really is, microcosm of what a football season is like. You gotta stay like this. You gotta trust your process, keep working, and you gotta enjoy the process too.
How much did losing McCoy affect you in the offense?
I mean, again, anytime you lose anybody on a football team, you don't just replace somebody. They bring a certain gift, and they bring a certain talent and ability, leadership. But with that said, I thought Lucas did a great job. Again, I get work with him too during the week, just in case something like this ever happens. And so you lose a guy like Eric, it hurts. He's a captain, he's a leader. Of our football team, so it hurts. But and we all know that again, football, that stuff happens all the time. It's next man up, and you got to be able to pick right back up, and the expectation doesn't change. And so, but I thought Lucas did a fantastic job of, really listening to him communicate, to the young guys and stuff, new guys coming in and out when C's went out, all that. Just watching him communicate, he's a true pro, he's a true leader, and I'm glad we have him.
Talk to me about your tattoo on your arm that says Jeremiah 29:11. And I know that you went through a lot during the off season, especially with everything that's going on. How has your faith just grown as the off season is going on?
Yeah, I got this tattoo, when my grandpa had brain cancer. He was a pastor for like over 40 years at the same church.
I hate these kind of questions because I feel like they're very disingenuous. Like I feel like whoever this is asking the question already has his mind made of how he's going to write the article or like the headline, and he's trying to fill the headline with quotes. And it's to me, it feels like a very inorganic question. Like you can already see, like as I'm hearing him, he even phrased the question kind of how he would phrase like the headline of a story, I could just see it. I could see the whole paragraph filling itself up, and he's here asking this question strictly to fill up that story. And I feel like it should be reversed, where you're asking organic questions, and then from what the player, like I feel like he's leading the player when it should be the opposite. The player's organic responses or organic answers should lead the reporter. I can already see whatever. I guarantee you, I don't know who that was asking the question, but I guarantee you his article or whatever is all about, in a trying time, Derek Carr still has faith, blah, 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 blah. And then I can already see the tattoo, him drawing parallels with the tattoo versus right now, the Saints are struggling, so Carr will have to I guarantee you that reporter already knew what the tattoo meant or whatever before he asked the question.
Church, and he told me on his when he was dying, he wrote Jeremiah 29:11 up on his board. He told his kids, don't ever forget it. And for me, in that moment, he's sitting there, dying of brain cancer, and he tells us that, he said, God is real. Don't think just because I'm sitting here that he's not real. Just because I'm going through this, don't let the world tell you, what your rational eyes can see, that he's not real. And so it just means something to me, for a lot of reasons, obviously. But my faith is what I hold on to, through the amazing touchdowns and the fun and the fines, and also, in the hard times. And I just try and stay even keel. I go home and try and be a great husband. Go home and try and be the best dad that I can be, because that's what God's calling me to do. And then come in tomorrow and be the best quarterback I can be, and leader. And so, I try my best to do it. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm trying my best.
Colossians 3:23.
Appreciate you, man.
God, man. I mean, again, that report, I'm not sure what the hell was going on right there, but all right. I mean, it's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to see what Kubiak can do. It's time to see. We're watching the injury report all week. Taysom get better, McCoy get better, and then Kubiak. I hope his beard is long and haggard next time we see him, because it's going to be put up or shut up time in Atlanta. That game is going. I mean, that game. I cannot stress this enough. That is the Super Bowl right now. You go in there, you put up a good performance, you beat that team. We're right back. We're right back to, hey, this team can win the NFC. Hey, this team's probably going to win the division. Hey, this team's going to host a playoff game. Hey, this team can do this. We go in there, we struggle. We look similar to how we did against Philadelphia. Hold on now. All of a sudden, this team swings right back to hey, we're just trying to be above 500. So that is an enormous game. All eyes are on that game. We'll be covering the recap and review of the Eagles game. And then at some point this week, we will shift to previewing that game. So stay here for all the coverage possible. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.